everyone. Time is so fast. We have already passed the half of the course. I'm pretty sure that you have learned somewhat valuable knowledge in this course. And I hope you guys keep developing your intellectual resources and capabilities as well as learning experience. In previous chapters, we have learned the way to analyze external environment and internal organization, and how to formulate proper strategies based on the vision and mission and the result of the analysis. Now we more focus on, from this chapter, how we effectively implement the formulated strategies by implementation mechanism such as corporate governance, organizational structure and controls, and strategic leadership, and strategic entrepreneurship, and so on. So for the first step, this chapter is about corporate governance. We begin with understanding what the corporate governance is and why it is important, and especially why it is used to monitor and control top-level managers. And we will understand why ownership is separated from managerial control in organizations, and understand the structure of corporate governance by agency relationship and managerial opportunism and their strategic implications. Furthermore, we will discuss 3 internal governance mechanisms, types of compensations for top-level managers, and their effects on managerial strategic decisions. At the last part of the chapter, we will discuss one external governance mechanism, that is the market for corporate control, and how it restrains top-level managers' strategic decisions. First of all, corporate governance is basically the set of mechanisms that manage and control the relationship among stakeholders. Who are stakeholders again? As we learned in the first chapter, the stakeholders are the parties who are involved with a firm's operations. These parties are the capital market stakeholders, the product market stakeholders, and the organizational stakeholders. This mechanism is a guideline for better and effective strategic decisions, and it is used to establish harmony between owners and their top-level managers, whose interests may be in conflict, which we will take a look at in following slides. As firms become larger enough, we learned that firms need to formulate the proper diversification strategies based on specific reasons, and the ownership and managerial groups tend to be separated in the organizations. So in this chapter, we try to mainly understand 3 internal governance mechanisms, such as ownership concentration, the board of directors, executive compensation, and one external governance mechanism, which is the market for corporate control. Let's briefly define each governance mechanism. One of the 3 internal governance mechanisms is ownership concentration, which is the relative amount of stock owned by either individuals or institutional investors. It is commonly known that managing small firms and family-owned firms also own a significant amount of shares of the firm, while larger firms tend to be separately owned by other individuals and institutional investors. The board of directors is individuals representing those owners to monitor and evaluate their top level managers and their strategic decisions. The other internal governance mechanism is executive compensations, formed by combination of salary, bonuses, and long-term incentives such as stock award and options to align the manager's interest and shareholders' interest. And the external mechanism is the market for corporate control. It is active when internal mechanisms fail due to ineffective performance and or top-level managers' opportunistic behaviors and so on. So the market for corporate control means the buying or selling the ownership or reforming new divisions in order to recover a firm's poor performance or improve its strategic competitiveness. Before we take a closer look into the corporate governance mechanism, we try to understand why the mechanism is needed by understanding the agency relationship between shareholders and managers, and managerial opportunism and its strategic implications. An agency relationship occurs when one party, as known as a principal, who could be risk-bearing specialists such as shareholders and owners in business organizations, delegates decision-making responsibility to a second party as an agent who is decision-making specialist for compensation such as top-level managers. As a consequence, an agency relationship problems occur when a principal and an agent have a different interests and goals, and thus the difference lead the agent's managerial opportunistic behavior. It is often and possibly happened because shareholders, especially individual shareholders, lack direct control of larger firms. And there are conflicting views between owner group and manager group because top-level managers and owners are different types of specialists. Furthermore, since monitoring top managers is difficult and costly, it is hard for owner group to verify that the agents have behaved appropriately. If top managers seek their self-interest, for an example, over-diversification during short time period for higher compensation, those top managers' managerial opportunistic behaviors often negatively affect shareholders' wealth because stock investors are worried about too much budget spending that reduce possible financial returns or increase managerial risk. So thus, owners or principals establish internal and external governance and control mechanisms to prevent managerial opportunism. We may understand the agency problem by product diversification strategy as an example of an agency problem. In corporate level diversification strategies, especially product diversification strategy, we may learn why there is a gap between owners and managers in terms of their profit and risk management as shown in the figure, while managers prefer more diversification that need more funds in additional product diversification. Shareholders prefer less diversification. Rather, they prefer the funds as dividends so that they control how the funds are invested. Please watch a video clip for Lockheed Martin. You would know that the consequent agency cost is increased, such as incentive cost, monitoring cost, and so on. Because of the the agency problems and costs mentioned above, principals and owners may need to be involved in monitoring activities to access managers' behaviors and decision-making process. So, board of directors represent the monitoring management, although their role sometimes is weak and therefore ineffective.